Let's talk about bad days. I'm sure you've had bad days. We all have. When you've played a show and somebody got a little bit out of time and next thing you know, the band just evolves into a train wreck. Maybe the next song you pull it together, but that whole set just makes you shake your head going, that was not our best night. Or you've had a bad day at work. Things just didn't go the way you wanted them to go. Got into kind of a mess. Happens to all of us. Now, I'm not talking about a mega disaster. A mega disaster is when people get killed, people get severely injured, and it's due to some negligence that you should have known better. You probably knew better, but corners were cut, shortcuts were taken, and somebody paid a heavy price. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about your average problems, screw-ups, disasters that can happen. I'll tell you a couple of my stories. They're not too revolutionary, but just things I remember. I was doing an outdoor show, and I get out to the venue, and it's a hot summer day, and I'm checking the weather forecast, and we got about a 65% chance of thunderstorms later that evening, and it feels a little bit unsettled in the weather. I go and check the venue owner, and I inform him saying, hey, I'm looking at the weather forecast. It's looking a little iffy, and I'd hate to see us get rained out, so you think maybe we should move this event indoors? He wasn't having any of that. He's like, I got too much money tied up in renting that stage and all the outdoor stuff. And no, we'll do it outdoors. Ain't gonna rain. Don't worry about it. Okay. So we continue on with the show. Got through the first set. Nice evening. Perfect. Got into the second set. About halfway through, started to get a little rain sprinkle. And then it started actually coming down a bit. And I'm getting concerned. And about that point, the band stops and says, hey, everybody, it's been a great night, but we can't keep playing in the rain, so we're going to have to cut it short tonight. Thanks, everybody, for coming out, but that's it for this evening, so have a good night. Great. And we start tearing down and start packing up equipment. And a few minutes after that, big thunder crack in the sky. Sky opens up and it's just pouring rain. And packing up the truck in a thunderstorm isn't exactly a peak experience of mine, but got her done. Go back to the venue owner and said, hey, sorry the show got cut short, but, thunderstorms. And so you owe us for the night. He wasn't having any of that. He was saying, you didn't fulfill your contract. I didn't get a full evening of music. I ain't paying. And we tried to politely inform him that, yes, we have a contract, and the contract states that if the show gets cut short because of things outside of our control, we still get paid. We went back and forth a little bit. He was very angry. He wanted to get into a fist fight with me. He was kicking my boots with his boots and getting all in my face. Yeah. Well, we ended up getting paid. We cut him a little discount because of the inconvenience, and went back to our promoter and said, don't really want to work with that guy again. But it turned out all right. Another one. I was working at a manufacturing facility, and we had a superline kiln. This is a nearly 3,000 degree kiln that is about a block long, like a big pizza oven roller assembly machine. It was full of expensive parts that were running through the kiln. We had about 20 or so people all around on this line. And I wanted to get some production information from that machine on the line. I did a bit of research and discovered that the industrial controller that was running that equipment already had communication abilities. All I need to do is drop a line to that machine, make a couple of minor changes, and I can interrogate the machine for the information that I need. Easy. This is not my machine. I don't own that department. I'm not authorized to go tearing into it and modifying stuff. So I call up our maintenance and engineering people and say, hey, I need access to that machine. I need to drop a line to it. No problem. They meet me down where the machine is, unbolt the door, swing the big cabinet open, and inside the cabinet is a bunch of high power lines coming in and a few industrial controllers on buses, whole mess of wires in there and a bunch of blinking lights. I look in there, and I go, that's the controller I need, and I need to be on port 1, which has the features I need, and there's other ports, but I need port 1, and there is a existing wire on port 1. What's that about? Guys I'm with who own this machine and are responsible for its maintenance, so they're pretty familiar with it. Look at it and going, oh, yeah. Don't worry about it. We're not using that. That wire's not in use. It's just a backup communication channel to the sub bus, and it doesn't need that. So you're free to pull that, and you just move it over to the secondary port so it can still do its function, but it's just kind of a backup channel. It's not necessary. We're not really using that. Okay. You sure about that? You're sure it's okay if I pull that wire? Yeah, that's fine. You can do that. Yeah, that won't hurt anything. You can. It's okay, isn't it, Bob? Yeah. Yeah, we're pretty sure. We think so anyway. You'll probably be okay. Yeah, give it a try. Okay. Now, of course, this machine is running, with a whole bunch of expensive parts in it, all kinds of people working that line. And I'm like, okay, if you guys say this won't be a problem, you know better than I do. So I reach in, grab the connector, and I start slowly inching it out of there, pull it out. Well, you know the story. As soon as I pull that wire out, boom, the whole line goes down. And I've got about 20 people all around the kiln going, what the hell happened, man? And the guys who I'm with are maintenance engineering guys. They, of course, jump back and go, dude, what did you do? Listen, you're riding the bus with me. You said it was okay. And they're like, oh man, you shouldn't have pulled that wire. Oh, but... yeah. So I immediately take the wire and shove it right back in. Yeah, the system does not restart, of course. And they go, oh, this is not good. And I turn to the guys I'm with, and I'm like, guys, I think we need to reboot this thing. We got to do a reset on it. And they're like, oh, no, we don't want to do that. The startup procedure is way too long. It'll take like 90 minutes to get this thing back online if we do a full reboot. And I'm like, okay. And they go, yeah, it's just a register. There's just an error register that got thrown. We just got to reset that, and then the controller will come back up. So don't worry. It'll be easy. We'll get it right back here in just a moment. Let me go get my laptop. It goes off, comes back a few minutes later with his laptop and the control management software, plugs into the machine, pulls it up, and he's like, let's see, I think it's register 8. I think register 8 is the one that is looking at that needs to be value 1 for this to work. So let's, okay, insert the value, upload, there we go. Doesn't start. Then his buddy's saying, well, you got to get more than that. You also got to get the sub-register, because when that one goes down, that causes a logic condition which trips the sub-register at register 15. So make sure to reset that one as well. And it's like, oh, yeah, good point. Just a second. Goes back, hits that. Upload. Nothing. And I'm saying, guys, I don't know your programming or your business with this thing, but if it were me, I think I'd just do a quick power down and reboot. And like, no, we don't want to reboot. It takes too damn long. We'll be down for an hour if we do that. Okay. Now, of course, I've got a whole kiln full of expensive parts which are getting destroyed. And we've got a whole bunch of employees who are making a bunch of money per hour who aren't doing anything now. Yeah, great. Well, Joe Bob, Bubba, and Joe Bob poked around with the registers and stuff for the better part of 4 hours without success. After about 4 hours, one of them had the brilliant idea, maybe we just got to reboot this thing. That made sense to me. So they initiated a system reboot. It went all down, came up, everything came up correctly. It restarted the system, and the equipment came back online. And it took about 90 minutes or so for it to go through that whole startup sequence, stabilize, and get running. And of course, we destroyed a lot of money in process production. And we shut the line down for a day. And so all those employees got paid for not doing anything for the company. So, yeah, good day. Good day. But a day or two after that, I'm walking down the hallway, and I see the president of the company, and he's got a bit of a smirk on his face, going, "Hey, Barry, how you doing?" And I'm going, "Doing all right." And he's like, "Yeah, a lot better than yesterday, huh?" And I'm like, "Hey, wait a minute. Now, mistakes were made, but I think the blame can be held by more than just myself." And he's like, "That's not what I heard. I heard you shut that line down." Yeah. Yeah, things happen. But hey, listen, don't do it again, okay? Well, I'm not planning on doing it again. Yeah. But a day after that, I see the chief financial officer, or CFO. Similar situation. He comes up and he goes, "Hey, Bear, heard you had a pretty rough day the other day." And I'm like, well, it wasn't exactly my shining moment, but, I was just following the instructions from those guys told me. It's like, yeah, whatever. But listen, don't shut the line down again, okay? That costs us a lot of money. So don't do that. And I'm like, good advice. Okay. For about the next month at the company, I was reminded many times that I was the guy who shut down the plant. Nobody really wanted to hear my side of the story. But I remember those days. I remember that day. And that's the thing. I've worked for many thousands of days, and I've done an awful lot of live shows, probably well over 1,000 live shows. And for the most part, it's a blur. I look back on those days, and I remember bits and pieces, but I don't remember really the details of that much of it. But I do remember a few key moments. When there is either a spectacular success, or more often when things went really sideways and just did not go according to plan. And when I think back on those times, well, sometimes I look back and think, oh man, that was a real disaster and we wasted a whole ton of money. But, it's all right. With time, it washes away that pain, and you move on. And you just look back and chuckle and go, yeah, I really screwed the pooch on that one. Oh, my goodness. But more often than not, I look back on the days when things went haywire, and I stepped up. I said, we got a problem here. This is not going the way that it should go. We need to fix this situation, push forward, and get the show on. And usually I was successful at that. And I look back on those days with a sense of accomplishment and pride. So those are the days that test your mettle, test your ability, and give you the opportunity to shine. Like they say, even an inexperienced person can captain the ship when the seas are calm. But when stormy weather, it takes a captain with a firm hand to navigate the rough seas and bring the ship safely into port. And so when you do that, you can look back with a little bit of pride and say, I stepped up, I addressed the issue, and I made it happen. And so those bad days might be full of stress and concern and worry at the time. But in the future, you're going to look back at them and have a sense of accomplishment and pride. And so I try to remember that when things are going crazy and you're in the middle of the whirlwind, thinking right now this is insane and we got to figure it out and get this steered back on course. But I know that if I step up to the situation now, make it happen, resolve the issue, which I'm going to do here in just a minute, I'm going to look back on this day. And this bad day is going to be one of my best days. So when you're in the middle of a disaster, instead of just seeing it as a disaster, see it as an opportunity in your future. When you're going to look back on this day, you're going to feel a sense of accomplishment and pride, because those are the times when you're tested and when you have the ability to really shine. That's the way I look at it. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you feel like it. And if you want to hear more, well, why don't you consider checking out this video right here.